Welcome back to DreamHack Tour, the European minor. We have our first finalist, Dignitas. They took out Orbit 2-1, and we are now going to look and see in the lower bracket final who will be joining them as a qualifier for ESL 1 Cologne 2016's offline qualifier. It's going to be a matchup between HellRaisers and Orbit, a rematch of a matchup that happened earlier in the tournament. Two teams that know each other very, very well. I'm joined now by Pimp again. Pimp, you're still hanging around. Good to see you. How's it going?
It's going good.
Yes, and of course, Launders and Metas. Guys, you have a good rest from last night, from yesterday's action. You ready for today?
Somewhat.
Somewhat? Slightly unconvinced by that, Launders.
I'm about 95%.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe we can up the final 5% somehow with your lovely friend Metas standing next to you. Were you going to invigorate him, Metas?
I will, in special ways that we can't show on camera.
Okay.
All right. Come on, you know me by now.
Great, good to know. Well, did you guys get a chance to look at that last game at all?
Yeah.
Saw bits and pieces. Seems Orbit had a really good shot at actually winning that game.
They did. They pretty much had it in their grasp.
It's been kind of a consistent factor throughout this tournament, right? Like, even though they have gone wins, when they've lost, it hasn't been complete stomps. They've been in the game. They've had their chances. So again, this is, I think, almost like a broken record every time Orbit are playing.
To be honest,
it's anyone's game, right?
Yeah, to be honest, when I saw them play Dignitas the first time on Cobble, and it was the last map, it was, I think they had a 6-9 half where they got 9 rounds T-side, and then Orbit moved on to CT, and Orbit were just renowned for doing really badly on their CTs in general, right? And then Dignitas won the pistol. I'm like, it's over. Like, Dignitas are going to pull this back. They got T-side Cobble, Orbit are horrible on CT side. They continuously fail. I don't know why it is, but it's always been a huge problem for them. And now, you know, Orbit are playing a team that they want to play against, I guess.
Well, HellRaisers, well, as we've established throughout the course of this tournament, HellRaisers have continually said, and Orbit have, Orbit originally said it, that HellRaisers have a sort of black magic over them. Sorry. HellRaisers have a black magic over Orbit, and Orbit have agreed to that, but then we saw Orbit did end up beating HellRaisers. Which way is it going to go now? Pimp, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, I think like we saw the match before where Orbit actually were cleaning HellRaisers 2-0, which was surprising for everyone involved, I guess. I guess this time it will be the other way around. I think HellRaisers redeemed themselves yesterday. I think they turned up. They played a great match yesterday night against Inst, it was, I believe. Stomped them and now ready for Orbit. I do think it will be a 2-0 depending on the maps. I think that we're going to have a final consisting of HellRaisers and Dignitas, and it's probably also the two best teams when you take in all factors. Orbit have been playing well, but as you said, like it is a broken record. Like they kind of like get so close every time, but they just don't have what it takes to get further.
I think Pimp raises a really good point as well. It's hard to predict this without seeing the maps. The maps mean a great deal in this best of 3.
We will be getting into the map shortly. Launders, do you want to interject?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you think that HellRaisers, since they didn't know who they were going to play against, were mentally preparing for Dignitas or mentally preparing for Orbit again?
Neither of them, to be honest. I don't think like it's dangerous when you don't know who your next opponent is. Like so they would just like focus on what they have to do better for the next game. Obviously they can have some thoughts about if we're going to meet Orbit, then we should be prepared for this. And that's probably the talk they're having right now while we're standing here going into the game. But like sitting at the hotel and anticipating two teams without knowing which teams you're meeting is potentially dangerous. So I don't think they've done that. I think they've focused on themselves and like they're preparing themselves to be 100% ready, and then they are believing in them being the better team whoever they face.
Awesome. Let's take a look at Orbit. If you are fresh to the stream, you do not necessarily know who they are. They consist of Bubble, who's been playing quite well, Punisher, who is actually the stand-in for Dreamer, who couldn't be here, Spy Leader, Victor, and NKL. Overall, each player has kind of had their moments in the tournament so far. They tend to play Cash a lot, and they do have quite a good record on it, and they're pretty much the best team to come out of Bulgaria. Who is going to be the key to victory, the victory in this matchup?
Bubble or Victor for me. I think Victor dropped 58 kills in 2 maps yesterday in one of the best of 3s, which is pretty ridiculous when you think nearly 230s effectively. Victor alongside Bubble are the 2 guys that you're looking at there. Punisher's been doing a decent job though, honestly. Normally when someone comes to step in, you're thinking, are they going to perform? Aren't they? He's been holding his own.
The scores in the maps for the last time these two faced off, it was 16-14 and 16-10. So, and I'm not sure exactly how many pistol rounds were won in that second map, but as we can see, it's relatively close. So this could still swing the black magic way of HellRaiser taking out Orbit, or it could go the way it did yesterday where Orbit do end up winning. Pimp, what do you think is the most... Well, you've already said that you think this is going to be... Did you say it's going to be a HellRaisers victory?
Yeah.
Yes, but depending on the maps, you think Orbit could get in there?
Potentially get a map. Like if they get to play Cash, I'm not sure how the V2 will work out, but if they get to play Cash, they have a chance of taking Cash. If not, then I believe it will be a 2-0. Like Cash is like sort of Orbit's home map, and it's where they gotta win and they gotta like make their mark in the series, and then you hope for a good third map. But
So easy ban then, no?
nah, because HellRaisers doesn't play Train, and Orbit have played Train in the past, but don't like playing Train either. So like it will be a risky move from HellRaisers to leave it out there. Orbit could potentially pick it, and then they would have to play Train, and they know HellRaisers don't play it at all, and HellRaisers know that Orbit only plays it a little bit. So it would be like in a minor qualification, you'd rather probably play to your own strengths than to your opponents. So
Cool.
The map that went 16-14 was Dust2, and it's a map that can kind of favour both teams. Do you think we might see it again, Mohan?
I don't think Dust2 is like, I think it's good for both teams, yeah. But I feel like HellRaisers are just so wild cardy on that map, right? Like Oscar is just so good on that map. Zero is such a good B solo player, and they have just too many outs, I think, on CT side to bail them out, even though they'll probably have a good T side as well. So I don't know. Even though the map can be, each round is maybe T or CT sided depending on like how you work your opening kill, I think it's just very strongly in favor of HellRaisers though.
Let's take a look at HellRaisers in more detail, the squad themselves. So Zero, who we spoke to yesterday after the match, and we found out that he's actually only 17 years old. Very, very interesting. Angel, Stiko, Angel, the longest running member of the squad. Stiko, Oscar, who is the superstar in a way, and then Bondic, who's just come over from Flipside. It's a pretty stacked roster. They are a very, very good team with a lot of skill already, but also potential that is yet to be fully fulfilled, in my opinion. Metas, any general thoughts on that team?
Well, you normally think that Oscar's the standout player, but it was Stiko for me yesterday
Definitely.
that was performing the best consistently. So, again, it goes to show, we talk about this a lot, with Dignitas, for example. Kirby, if he's not really showing up, he's one of the most crazy individually talented players in the world. If he doesn't show, Dig really struggle. Normally the same with HellRaisers, but Stiko, he's been there. So definitely someone to watch out for on this one as well.
All right, well, let's look at the veto. It is ready on screen. We're going to look at the bans first, then the picks, and the third map. Any sort of idea of where this is going to go? Probably a cash, maybe on the side of Orbit. HellRaisers, what do you think their pick is going to be?
It could be Dust2, to be honest. I feel that they feel comfortable on Dust2 still. And yeah, they were removing Train as the first pick. They're not risking anything going up against Orbit, despite knowing that Orbit doesn't play Train either. But again, HellRaisers do believe, as we talked with Zero yesterday, like they believe in themselves. They believe they're the better team, and therefore they won't play into your opponent's strengths.
Well, we're about to see the first pick coming out of HellRaisers. HellRaisers did ban Train, as we can see, and also Orbit banned Overpass. And there we go. It is Dust2. 16-14 the first time, as we've already established. So that's going to be... well, this is the thing. If HellRaisers have gone and corrected their mistakes, maybe it will swing in their favor. We'll just have to see. Of course, it could go the way of Orbit if they manage to play like
it's
they
hard
did
to
last
tell
time.
from just a straight up score line how a team felt like when they won it, right? They could have won 16 rounds, they could have given up 14, but maybe they felt like it should have been a 16-10. Maybe they felt like they got lucky on the pistols that they lost, and maybe they felt like there's a lot of reasons that it was closer than it was, right?
Yeah, well, we've got Cash as the pick from Orbit, which was predicted by pretty much everyone as well, and so this is presumably going to be a tight series again, unless one of the teams can correct the mistakes that were made last time. Well, specifically HellRaisers, of course, because they were the ones that went out. And then Mirage. This is going to be... my instant perception is that this is going to be quite tight.
Yep.
Mohan, the instant inhale there, what are you thinking?
Yeah. I mean, let's say Orbit take Cash. I don't think Mirage will be so tight. Like, I think HellRaisers will be able to take Mirage, so I think they're guaranteed to win this.
Yeah, sorry, I drift off for a second there because I've just had information that this is the exact veto that happened yesterday but flipped around. So HellRaisers originally picked Cash and Orbit originally picked Dust2, and then Mirage was the same. And so that's quite interesting. They kind of switched around. Metas, do you have any thoughts on that?
The thing with HellRaisers and Dust2, they're fairly gimmicky. You know pretty much what they're going to do. They're very aggressive up mid. They play similar positions. Oscar likes to go for these crazy peaks up near Xbox with the AWP through lower tunnels. And we saw Ents really struggle to Natu's dismay. He's really triggered by that. So I feel like if you play more passive against HellRaisers, they actually play themselves out of quite a few rounds on their CT side. If we see that happen today, it could definitely go the way of Orbit.
But that's a very good point, because like when normally we don't play best of threes in a tournament like this. Like now, this is the second time they are facing each other, the second time in a best of three, and they've already played a group stage each as well. Normally you only see like a team playing 1 or 2 different maps like until the bracket stage, because it's usually best of 1. And like in a tournament like this where it's double elimination, it's best of 3 the whole way. Like you get to see, and you get to see the same teams play the same maps a lot of times. So it's also like this. It's normally not a factor at a big tournament, but at a tournament like this, it comes down to which team can adapt the best. Like which team is able to renew themselves on the run, like in the tournament, and not being able, like not having to go home and practice the new stuff, but being innovative in the game and while being at the tournament.
We have a... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's just normally not like something you have to think about when you're attending a tournament. You play in a tournament, you have everything settled from home through the practice, but at a tournament like this, you have to renew yourself throughout the tournament because you play the same map so many times.
We have a short period of time left, so quick predictions starting with Pimp.
It's gonna be 2-0 for HellRaisers.
Okay, Launders?
I'm gonna go with the 2-0 as well. I'm gonna say Cash is gonna be like really close, like 16-13.
I'm going to go HellRaisers as well, but I'm going to go 2-1. I feel HellRaisers have been too inconsistent for me. Orbit have been pretty damn solid. I see them taking a map 2-1 though for HellRaisers.
There we go. Let's get into the game. Launders and Metas will be casting it. It is Orbit versus HellRaisers.
All right, here we go then, Launders. The lower bracket or consolidation final, whatever you want to call it, the winner of this will go through to face off against Dignitas, and Orbit will be desperate for some revenge, but I think HellRaisers have a couple of things to say about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, HellRaisers, the thing Orbit have to be afraid of is that HellRaisers have so much potential, right, no matter when they're playing. And they could be very lucky to have gotten the 2 maps in the first place, maybe yesterday. Maybe they feel like they fixed a lot of the mistakes that they had versus HellRaisers. They've got a lot of data, right, because they practiced against each other a lot of times. And so typically in a matchup where you have 2 teams that play each other a lot, no matter who has the better record, both teams kind of have this potential to win in like a brand new setting with just a renewed faith in themselves for whatever reason. Maybe they feel confident on land beside each other, being able to look at each other, talk to each other, like talk after the matches, or maybe they just feel like they were saving something, you know, something that something that they've built up towards after playing so many matches online against each other. So there's different advantages that we see that can come of both teams. Like HellRaisers could just win off of talent, you know, and then Orbit could win because they're more prepared. And we do see that team aspect be very prominent in Orbit, but that can fall short to talent quite often in this game.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the whole, they used to be renowned as E-Force. You know, when they're E-Frags, they force up all the damn time and end up playing themselves out of rounds. We have seen that come to fruition, but actually in their benefit, they've won a lot of force buy rounds that really they shouldn't be. And that's got the maps a lot closer than maybe they should have been on paper. Dignitas even discussed this. They said it's so hard to predict what they're going to do next. When you think they're ecoing, they're force buying. When you think they're force buying, they're ecoing. It really throws you, you know, for 6s and 7s. So we're going to have to see here today if those force buys are going to be a factor again for positive or negative reasons.
It's kind of an expensive risk though, right? And we see like the fact that they don't do well on CT side so often. I think that could make a huge difference. If they're making bad economic decisions, maybe they're not giving themselves enough outs. If we look back at the tapes and we see the buying patterns of Orbit and we see they're a little bit sporadic, then we see maybe that they're buying in inopportune moments, losing those rounds and those resulting in saves that would have never come about if they just gave themselves a chance to win by saving for the right equipment.
All right, well, here we go. Into the first map, Launders, of this best of 3. Winner goes through and secures themselves a place at the offline qualifiers for the next major. So a massive amount on the line, plus, of course, bragging rights, plus, of course, the fact they're going to get themselves some nice money.
Yeah.
Which is always a nice thing to fall back on. But here we go. So you have some utility picked up on the side of Orbit, and also HellRaisers going for an incendiary with a couple of flashbangs. Pretty standard stuff across the board, though.
Yeah, we see the informational play coming out from HellRaisers who are peeking middle. We have one in spawn getting spotted. Victor's already up the cross at long, though, so they might be able to get a plant here, though the bomb is all the way far back. And Stiko's basically in a retake position for Cat.
Oscar with the first frag of the round, though. And Spy Leader and the rest of Orbit try and push their way up. Nice headshot from Spy Leader. Stiko's going to go down. And there's NKL as well, so great opening picks, but the bomb's on the opposite side of the map to where the frags are going down. And this is going to make things a little bit sketchy for HellRaisers. Maybe caught in 2 minds. Oscar now going to be pushing himself through. But the bomb is already on the A site, and it's about to get planted. Oscar should at least secure this kill, albeit a little bit labored. But now they have to make the long trek back towards the A site.
Wow, quite a tricky decision to go B there. And now they're getting challenged at Xbox, so they've got to retake 2v3. Both players spotted from the CTs, and it's going to come down to a couple of gunfights, but the time is on T side.
Yeah, time is running out very quickly. Flashbang out just to allowing Orbit to relocate. All they have to do really now is just hold the angles, but Angel with the one tap onto Spiley, who's going to be looking at Kuz. Oh my goodness, that shot onto Punisher is absolutely disgusting. And they can actually go for the defuse now. There's enough time. Angel's just going to be holding off, gets the kill. In fact, it's Oscar that gets the kill beforehand, and HellRaisers have pulled it off.
Unbelievable.
That shot from Angel, I was so stunned by that shot. I didn't even realize Oscar got the last kill.
That was an Angel, are you kidding me moment where the flick was just right into Goose, and I think we're about to watch that back, and this one tap right here. Oh, right off the single box. Turns to his left, clears it, and then comes back for more. Oh my goodness. Wow, and that was 2v3, and the 2 players alive got all 5 kills.
It was actually a 2v4 because the first kill went down around B.
True, yeah.
Oscar got him from behind, so... My goodness, HellRaisers. Okay, we were saying a couple players may need to step up individually speaking, and I think it's safe to say they've arrived in style in round number 1. But Orbit have gone for some SMGs, and they have a Galil in play as well. The early force is up, but the players are down. It's a 2v5.
Yeah. This is kind of funny. We see this is Orbit like buying up really early here, right? They got the plant. They were so close to winning that round. They're like, wow, maybe we should try this out. And they get a couple of kills now, but it's just Punisher alone after getting a couple of frags himself. He doesn't have any many options. He's basically got to push for information. If he gets that kill, though, both other players at A, he could technically have run to B and try to get another plant. But that's one of the decisions that are kind of weird from Orbit, where they're buying when they really don't have enough money, or if they saved one, they would have had a full buy. But you can try to catch someone off guard because of the plant. You can have like the head armor, UMP, and a couple of nades. And so it's formidable, right? It goes up well against maybe a scout and a couple of FAMASes, but it's still a risk and it's still a disadvantage.
Oh, high risk, high reward. Oh, Bubble still has himself a scout into round number 3. And is going to make that work onto Oscar partially through the door. So that's going to be a stinging blow for HellRaisers. This is something you can expect to see a lot more as this progresses on. HellRaisers very aggressive on their CT sides. Angel loves to play in tunnels. He'll also sometimes go up short towards long side from T's perspective. And in fairness to Orbit, they are playing this passively. So they are effectively saying, come at us.
They really know how to turn an advantage into a win on T side. Like, that's just what they're best at. And on the other hand, HellRaisers just have no respect for teams at mid on Dust2. Like on CT or T side, they're always controlling it. Bubble winning that duel is enormous. You won't see that happen too often, but at the same time, Bubble is very good at mid on Dust2. We saw him win trades countless times from T and CT side.
Stico and Angel just switching weapons because Angel's so low on health. Just down to 15. 55 seconds left. Orbit don't have to get a move on just yet. They got a flash and a smoke to the name of Bubble and Victor. Spy leader, 7 HP with a deagle. And
after that preliminary map control attempt, they've decided, the CTs, that is, to recede back into the sites behind the doors into spawn. And that puts pressure on Zero.
But he's in such a good position with this FAMAS, and he's just going to be using it perfectly. 10 bullets left as well. He can peek up a couple more times. 3 players have gone down to his name. Just 4 health left, but what a great individual performance from Zero. Not just killing the players, but killing the time as well. Victor is the last remaining terrorist, and he's been put down to 12. And it's just a matter of time. You've got to feel before Angel puts him out of his misery. And there's the headshot. He will trade out to the AK-47. Solid opening plays from HellRaisers.
What an insane play from Zero to get those 3 kills.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know, that's where you go to K-Sharp, you get that back box. What's interesting about B-side on Dust2 is like that back box is the hardest part to get to, the hardest spot to get to, excuse me, but you have direct line of sight as we see Zero spray down 3 people with the FAMAS. One at a time, he takes his time, and then he actually just crouches because he knows that they have to fight him at the back box, and they've seen him re-peek, and whoa, Oscar. Wow, Spy Leader's just like, let me just get some info, you know, I'm going to play this really safe, I'm not going to take this fight, and then dies for it anyway.
I guess he got information, but not really worth it. Oscar with the second kill. You know it's likely that Oscar's going to be in mid with the AWP. It is a pretty standard position. That being said, though, Victor has pulled himself back a kill, so Orbit going to try and get something rescued out of this round. But now the bomb's out, and Catwalk and Oscar with his 3rd kill, and his 4th kill, actually, of the round. Very nicely done. HellRaisers to a brisk 4-0 lead. Orbit a bit shell-shocked, I think, after those Angel frags in the pistol round.
Yeah, almost certainly. I was just thinking back to that in the 4-0 and just thinking, like, you know, maybe they got HellRaisers get a little bit too hot too early on, and they had to, you know, put the cloth down on that fire, because at this point, HellRaisers will take a pistol to run with it, and they'll have so much confidence, so much money, and they'll feel free to run around. And I know that they're thinking, we just got to play the same way we play online, right? We probably played no respect, a lot of confidence, and we got to bring that into the LAN environment.
A bit premature from Stiko, but he's got so many bullets to play with that he's going to at least get a kill for his troubles. It could have gone a whole lot worse if it wasn't just Tech9s that he was up against. And those are the kind of plays that we were alluding to before in the build-up to this game.
Yeah, he does that push-up mid quite often.
As with Angel as well. Sometimes they'll both push it.
The power in it, right, is that from spawn, you can actually spot someone walking up cat. And we see like Dennis from Fnatic do that all the time as well. I mean, there's lots of teams that just do run-ups. But the reason they do it so many times is because there's no actual way to get info on it from lower. So we'll see players late round, or maybe if they think that no one's crossed the top mid, just try to walk up as much as possible and take advantage of it. Force a reaction out of the T's.
NKL 6, Punisher 29, Bubble 100%, but just the Tech9, and he's been spotted from Angel, who's leaping up and down from the window on B. He knows a player's aggressing him now, up close and personal. The bomb's actually going towards Ace. This is a fake from Bubble. A bomb plant from this point would be a pretty solid climax to the round from Orbit's perspective, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen. That being said, Oscar's been picked up, and Bubble has himself the AWP, so maybe it can go a whole lot better than just the bomb plant, because now HellRaisers have to get themselves into close enough proximity. Bubble's going to throw the AWP over, and in doing so, meets his demise. Punisher with the P90 isn't even going to pick that AWP up. I thought for a second they were maybe going to try and get some kind of crossfire down the incendiary landing, but there's the smoke as well, just stops Punisher from burning out. Here come HellRaisers in force. Bonnet going to be spraying around the corner. This is so well played from Punisher. One kill is all he's good for, though. And now the bomb is going to be starting to get diffused. Zero is here with his teammate, but he's going to be the last remaining player. Turns around and NKL gets the 1v2 clutch in a round where Orbit had, I think, just Tech9s and Kevlars.
Yeah, you know what? On the pistol, we saw the same kind of double fake there, where single fake, where they made presence at B, right? They got a player out to the side, or looked like he was going to go mid B. Angel was like looking to play that perfectly with Zero, where he mollies the door, he's under window, Zero spotting window with them. No way they're getting into B, right? But HellRaisers is like, okay, but they're coming to us, so this is perfect. And then the players at A are isolated. Oscar's put in a terrible position where he's in CT. He's watching the mid B rotate for his teammates, and then they just got caught off guard. So Orbit are able to sell these fakes versus HellRaisers is working out very well. Even though it's only resulted in one round, it's kind of, up until the last moment, it's been something that makes sense.
Well, Orbit have to rinse and repeat. It's all well and good getting the one round, but you got to start to put one foot in front of the other. And HellRaisers will be doing their utmost best to make sure that doesn't happen. Still a lot of weapons as a result of those early 4 rounds. A scout in the hands of Angel. It's Dust2, so very much a worthwhile endeavor. Just ask Chris J. Loves his weapon on this map. Stiko. Holding angle, you see a lot of AWPers on. That pop flash is perfect, but Bubble is going to take him down, almost spoilt for choice. Stiko shooting through the two of them. You can see minimal damage actually inflicted onto Orbit. He'll be very disappointed he didn't get at least one kill out of that confrontation.
Yeah, actually, I don't know how that flash popped, but it seemed like it tagged both of them, but barely worked. And, it's a bit of a failure from his teammate, that is Stiko's teammate, whoever was on site. Now we have mid control for Orbit, 5v4. They know that no one's pushed up or lower. They have long control. They can basically wait for pushes for as long as they want.
Split aggression. Oh, a 2-for-1 for Oscar. He's going to get a third as well. They just walk out single file, and Oscar puts them down. The bomb is dropped out in mid as well, just to add woes to Orbit's already shoddy 6th round.
Monster.
Oh my goodness, Oscar.
Monster.
This is why we keep hyping him up, man. This is why.
Oh my god.
14 for 3 after 6 rounds.
Look at him just penetrate these two players, pushing them back into each other. And then sending the third one back in time as well. Wow. They'll never come up mid doors again with the same attitude. Like, hey, we got the walkout, we got the 5v4, we got all the advantages. And Oscar's like, oh wait, you forgot about me.
Should never forget about Oscar.
No.
So I said before, Orbit need to be getting themselves consecutive rounds. Not going to happen just yet. T side of Dust2, fairly even map. Not heavily sided either way. So a 5-1 start is pretty sublime from HellRaisers, and you'd expect them to take this round, but the one round that Orbit picked up was actually with worse weaponry than this. It was 4 Tech9s, and they made it work, albeit a couple mistakes from HellRaisers. Spy Leader is going to pick up the scout that was dropped from Bubble. He did get a kill before falling onto Bondic, and now Stiko has the task of taking down the pesky terrorist.
Reload that gun, Steve.
Behind blue. NKL, he's going to go down. It was a brief hope for him to at least get a kill before falling, but now it's all on Punisher. They're standing with his Tech9. Again, he's been performing very well this tournament, but 1v4 the Tech 9 against full weapons, and the bomb's out in a precarious position. Good luck to you, sir.
Yeah. Good luck. This round's over. Orbit or Punisher, doesn't want to jump out and give him the kill, right? But he is going to try to do some damage. It's like 4K on the line in terms of every person he kills at a very minimum that he's going to have to cause in rebuys if he can.
It's true. He can still get a minor victory out of this round if he takes another weapon or two down with him. But there's Oscar, and he's not going to miss that. Another 3 kills. We move to 17 now after 7 rounds. Like this, Alu actually had a very similar score to this on Train CT side.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to carry it on the T side, whereas Oscar is the kind of AWPer that will carry this form going forward.
I remember the moment you pointed that out. It was 6-3, and he had 17 kills just like that.
Yep. So Orbit, after forcing the last round, will be tapping out here in round 8. Gives HellRaisers a beautiful opportunity to extend their lead further, but it's going to be a full-on long rush.
There's no smoke for the cross either, so this is going to be a shooting gallery on the cross here.
Bondic is laid in wait, but Oscar is going to be taking some more kills to his name. Angel, in the meanwhile, is going to do work. Bondic actually falls down, so that bomb's going to be tossed across to the A site. Meanwhile, though, Stiko with 2 is going to stop this plant before it can go down. And there's not much to say, really. HellRaisers, they're just in a different league.
We didn't see any utility come out of CT that was damaging, right? We didn't see any incendiaries come up for the cross. We didn't see any nades come up from the cross. All we saw was Oscar throw a flash and then just get an op shot, right? So if they had a smoke for that cross, they kill that guy on A site, then maybe they cross and get the bomb down and keep many players alive. Only the cost of $300. Like, it does take out of their buy a little bit here, but who would sacrifice a nade right now to have the potential for a plant on the last round and maybe have AKs because they've supplemented their income so well?
That's exactly it. Here comes Angel. Last time it was Stiko. This time Angel be pushing with the M4. They're waiting for him. And Spy Leader will get the kill. Punisher, meanwhile, on Stiko. Great start for Orbit. They do have a couple of wounded players. Spy Leader being one of them, as we're on board with him now with 12 health. But this is one of the best starts that Orbit have had so far, so they need to convert this round.
Now, we did see them go into the hands of Zero as they walked into the tunnels last time. Bubble's going to see the smoke got thrown from that angle, and wow, Oscar turns around, recognizes that's their danger, but he only gets 1 frag, goes 1 for 1.
Zero, in the meanwhile, though, will stand over his teammate's corpse, going to try and avenge him. 1 minute 5. Lots of time to play with for Orbit. They're in no great rush, but they've got that smoke down that's going to screen them their way across to the site, and the plant will be forthcoming. Meanwhile, Bondic from behind will be looking to work through tunnels. Zero, just making sure no terrorists are on the flank from long. I'll be chiming together and trying to tag team their way back into this site, or just setting up for exit frags. I suppose as well, there's no reason to throw these weapons around when you have such a large lead.
Yeah. What's really good about Orbit is when they congregate towards the site, no matter how much confusion there is, yeah, they always manage to leave someone at kind of an extremity to cut off a choke point for the rotators that come through. And that's what Zero is so aware of, right? Like, someone could have been sitting at Xbox, someone comes late, they don't panic and then like come off their kills and say, okay, let's just hit the site together. They always have one person who knows what his job is, that he can be comfortable staying on the other part of the map while the rest of his teammates group up. And that.
He was literally
Right
saved by the round changing. That was Spy Leader at 12 health. I actually thought I saw the grenade explode. That must have been a millisecond away. And that would have been actually a bit significant as well, because Orbit's economy is in no great position to just be losing weapons.
Certainly.
HellRaisers easy buy back up, replenishing the lost weapons from round 9. But HellRaisers, we said, they're a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team so far of this last couple of months. We saw this at Gfinity Sevo LAN. We've seen it earlier on this one as well. It seems like the beast has been unleashed for now.
It's actually not Oscar to take a fight at middle, though. I think he's actually, he's just sitting on the A site. Stiko's going to be mid B, and his position's a lot stronger if he's boosted, but it looks like this run out is going to catch him way off guard.
He did spot players, but he had his grenade out. That's the issue. But the call's going to come across. That's a beautiful flashbang, landing on all 3 players in mid. Spy Leader somehow gets a kill before dropping. So it does give Orbit a chance still into this. Victor and Bubble, the 2 standout players, the 2 stars for Orbit, still remain, but Victor jumps out into 83 worth of damage. Bubble, in the meanwhile, has his teammates back. Oscar's gone down, and he is a big, big part of this HellRaisers side so far on Dust2. Bubble did spot a player's hand Just round the corner, that's going to be Stiko. Meanwhile, Bondic snaked his way into the site, but his teammate's been put down, and now there's a bit more pressure applied to him on his shoulders. And Orbit, fair play to them. They've actually bagged themselves this round. Bubble and Victor, a beautiful clutch.
What an absolutely fantastic 2vx. It was like, I think it was 2v3. Bubble getting so aggressive outside of the site there, knowing that, I mean, he could have just gone back, right? Played in the site, watched the door, had an angle where he has an op and the person outside knows that he has an op. So he could have been baited into shooting and then got caught off guard, right? Allowed for map control. Instead, he took matters into his own hand and pushed up. And I think that's why that round was so fruitful for them. So it's really important sometimes when you have an op to not be scared and make plays like that. If you know you have an opportunity to get a kill, in a way that you know, the other person who has his rifle, who can just move around more, can't just take advantage of you.
Double AWP setup for HellRaisers at the expense of a lot of grenades, and Oscar with the flick. Bubble never stood a chance, but you can see there is a distinct lack of grenades for HellRaisers as a result of where they've allocated their money, which is for pure firepower rather than utility. Bondic staring at the wall, of course. If that pop flash comes in, he's going to be undeterred. Stiko in the meanwhile throws in a smoke. Maybe trying to bait out, I should say. Bait out, okay. Bait out NKL from pushing in.
I think it makes him much more powerful if he shoots a couple of bullets as well. And then Bondic maybe pushes right after. But instead, it seems like Bondic is... Oh, wow, Oscar. Wow, just skeet shooting right now.
The timing on his peaks is unparalleled. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Calling cheats, mate.
I wouldn't go that far. Just the sixth sense. He's not mortal, clearly.
It's a sad day to know that people like you have Overwatch.
He is incredibly gifted, though, with that AWP. And here comes the issue, though. HellRaisers have a flash and a smoke to play with. I guess it doesn't matter if Oscar just goes peeking through tunnels. Nearly gets another one for his troubles. But there's Angel with his double instead. HellRaisers take an 8-3 lead, only losing 0. So that high-risk, high-reward play, and you can see their economy now. If they lost that round, they'd be flat out broke. The high risk has paid off.
Oscar has this fantastic talent to take a team who have a stringent default and just dismantle it without trouble. You know, like, this Orbit's a team that gets away with doing their default versus the best teams ever because they've figured it out, right? They've thought about it so much. And Oscar is just this wild card who can, wow, take fights in situations where the other team is playing extremely safe and still make it work, get 3 kills per round. But now he's out of it, and Bubble's won a duel here, so this could be very big for Orbit.
Really intelligent from Bubble, actually being patient, waiting for the opening 2 plays, jump across, which were the bait. Oscar was waiting for him to shoot so he can move in position and then get the refrag. So Bubble playing smart. That being said, though, AWP is picked up from Angels. They still reside with 2 in total. Stiko has the other one. This could be a massive moment.
If he stands up, he'll actually be able to stay his head over this.
Yeah, Zero must be able to hear the movement, the pitter-patter of footsteps. 2 kills for Zero! Oh, and that could make all the difference. It's back to a 3-on-3, but Angel misses the shots, and Zero's hard work could have been for nothing. 3 kills, by the way, for Bubble. He's got all 3 of the kills in this round for Orbit. The solo carry is real. And the remaining HellRaisers play as a result, their economy still being a little worse for wear. Looking like they're just going to save.
Now we look at the positions, right? The after plan is far too strong. We've got info, you know, lower is completely clear. We have one player in upper as well to watch big flank. He's even pushed out because they know the save is coming out. Spy literally gets that frag. And then we have the third player, big box, which is to watch door and window. And that's like the ideal spot where you can stay alive and get info, call for your teammate to rotate out of tunnels, and support each other really well. So they immediately got into just the prime after plan spots. HellRaisers had no opportunity, but Zero, man, he's so consistent to get 2 kills every single time on B. Like, it's his duty to do that, right? But he is able to do. I mean, I don't know any other 17-year-olds that can hold B that well.
That's why I was so surprised when he said he's 17, because he just has this calmness about him. In these kind of high-pressure situations, and he seemed like a fairly laid-back guy as well in the interview, so
maybe he's a
definitely
psychopath.
To watch out for, possibly.
Yeah. Maybe that's the secret. Oscar and Zero, psychopath.
Yes, be a psychopath. Jeffrey Dahmer would have been a beast. That went a bit dark. Anyway, HellRaisers on to an eco with the AK save from Bondic. I was a bit surprised as well on that potential save that Stiko decided to jump down into CT. For me, that was a very odd decision because it looked like they wanted to save and he went aggressive at the end. He got punished for it. The one weapon has been taken out of the picture, picked up Zero, but no Kevlar behind it, whereas Bondic did have Kevlar. So definitely a more hamstrung AK-47. Angels the next to fall, next on the chopping block. And this is Orbit's golden ticket back into Dust2. They'll be looking to close the gap very quickly.
Yeah, it's really nice that they won that round after taking B. Like, in spite of the fact that a nice hold came out, they managed to keep 3 people up, or 2 people up, I should say. Or 3 people? No, it was 3v2. And now have just kind of like a round building, a morale building, a economy building round. That's something Orbit haven't had the luxury of having in this half so far. HellRaisers, on the other hand, have, but even after that one loss, they're in a situation where they have to save. So so far it's going really good. And, you know, Bubble's winning just enough duels, right, to make this competitive. If he isn't winning his duels at mid, then Oscar is turning that into 3Ks and then winning rounds because of it.
Yeah, be really curious once this round has wrapped itself up if we could have a quick check at the scoreboard. I'd be curious to see how the rest of the team are doing. So you can see there that Orbit, Bubble's got a lot of impact kills. He's only on 10 though, whereas Oscar's on 23, and he's a solid 14 ahead of the nearest member on his team.
Unbelievable.
Which is just unreal fragging. So it makes you think if Oscar's not performing, this could be a complete role reversal.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder, right? I mean, yeah, ultimately with the fact that HellRaisers only have 2 times the rounds that Orbit do, that if HellRaisers doesn't have as many, like this absorbent amount of kills, that maybe the score's tied or something like that. And that's a scary thought for HellRaisers, right? But the bottom line is, though, that because they put these CT rounds on the board, it puts a lot of pressure on Orbit, who fail constantly on theirs.
That's a good point. Long is going to be a big part of Orbit's CT side as well. They do like to aggress on long a lot. If they lose long, typically they lose A. So
there's actually a lot of power in that for the team that plays them, because they can just decide to take the other choke point, right? Have long. I'm going to push Cat. I'm going to push upper tunnels. And if you're committing 3 people to take long, then I know you only have 1 on Cat, 1 maybe top mid or in spawn watching mid. And we can isolate a player, get that kill right away. And yeah, you can take A, but then we got 5v4 and we have Cat control. So, you know, if you only have 1 trick in the book, then it's easily counterable.
I think we're seeing as well why a lot of people have compared Oscar to almost like a Nico light.
Yeah, definitely.
How hard he carries HellRaisers and how much he needs someone else to be there. Stico was the wingman yesterday, but seems a little bit absent so far. Maybe things will change when the roles are reversed. Either way, here we move into round 14. HellRaisers have a buy back up. It's not great. Only 1 defuse kit and a AWP in play for Oscar, but no grenades. Only the 1 incendiary. This is bare bones, Londers, and Orbit are on the precipice of taking us potentially an 8-7 half, which would be a great comeback, all things considered. They were, what, 7-1 behind, I think, at one point?
Yep.
Pop flash out from Angel, waiting for the aggression to come in. Zero's holding on one and done sort of angle, and he's given his position away, so Bubble just charges around, because why the hell not? Playing hyper-aggressive, 2 kills for Bubble and Spy Leader as well. And HellRaisers look like maybe the crossfire would be down on B site, but instead, Bondic and Stico, all that remain, make that just Bondic with an M4 in his hands. He knows roughly where at least one of the terrorists are. That's directly to his left-hand side, but Spy Leader opting to go in CT spawn instead. And really, there aren't any options for Bondic, just try and save.
I wish I kind of had like one of those Weatherman Yanko boards right now, because that round is like it's a strategy that they've tried before, and the reason that it works and how it works is basically they go up on Cat and they throw this smoke into CT from Cat, and that's very standard for teams to do that. But it only causes a rotate for like a moment, right? The guy in CT will happily move to Game Helper to maybe have the opportunity to kill someone coming across Cat if it's fast, and they take advantage of that by going out mid right away. So they actually exit before the smoke pops purposefully, because they know they can't hold that rotate forever. And it's catching HellRaisers off guard. It has twice that they fell for it. And even though it seems like Angel and Zero have a really good thing going on at B, they did have a lot, like the pressure that was put on them just worked out so well, where the tunnel guy was able to come out as the window guys came in. Paul was obviously able to get that no-scope on Angel while he was holding fence.
Well, here are the auto snipers. Just rat-a-tat-tat through middle doors, then trade off to the AKs. It's the last round, of course, of the half, so kind of expected. XM in the hands of Oscar. No Kevlar. Mag 7 for Stico. Scout for Mass M4. Again, not great weapons to play with, but just a moment of brilliance could turn this back around in HellRaisers' favor. Scout shot misses. Pretty standard from Orbit as well, not doing anything out of the ordinary. Just feeling their way out through mid and catwalk.
Yeah. And now it's actually A that the weakness is right now. I mean, we've seen HellRaisers kind of play this way on the previous rounds, and mid B has come right into their hands, but off of that like slight fake that we saw. And there's Victor getting the first kill versus kind of like a really broken buy here. Spy Leader, this is a round where he's getting a little bit aggressive. He's getting a little frisky right now, and it's kind of by himself. Bondic's also got a kill, and Stico takes him down with the jumping Mag 7. Wow, here's 1 footsteps and capitalizes.
Get wrecked. lethal max 7 shot. Bubble going to try and burst out of mid with his AWP. But now HellRaisers have the player advantage. 35 seconds. Looking as if Orbit may be out of ideas. They still have a smoke they can toss into CT side if they want to regress onto B. Oh, Bubble spotted himself a player, but actually misses. Gets it on the second time. Punisher, in the meanwhile, was toying with the idea of going through onto B. That would have probably cost him his life. Meanwhile, Bubble spins around, gets another crazy shot. His second of the round, keeping Orbit in this, but there's 13 seconds left. They've got to go on the site right here, right now. That's going to help things massively as Zero's gone down. There's a Molotov as well. And now if this kill comes in from Oscar, this could be the round, but instead he misses out and will end up getting picked off from Punisher. What did I just witness?
Wow, he knew that he had to get that kill, and then he could just hit elevator, the time would run out.
Yeah.
And he was jumping for his life, man. He was praying to RNGesus right there. To no avail, however. That was quite close. Bubble got the really important kill. Yeah.
He gets the kill. It's the round because they only had like 5 seconds left as he pushed onto the site with a plant. So, you see that Bubble, 14-10. It's not the craziest scoreline, but when you consider that, I think out of those 14 kills, probably 10 of them were massive impact frags. That would suggest that he has been having a bit of a storming game.
Yeah.
Alongside Oscar. But I think Oscar did start to slow down a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, he kind of did, and it was because Bubble was kind of getting in his way, right? Oh my god, my hair is nuts. Because Bubble was getting in his way where he was able to get like the opening kill, right, which is the most important. That's when like Dust2 is one of the maps, one of the few maps where your ops can actually meet each other quite consistently, right? Yep. You know, the mid duels that happen so often, the long picks that might come out, and Bubble was able to just straight up take duels with Oscar, win them. I wouldn't say half the time, but maybe like 30-40% of the time, which is a very formidable amount considering it's Oscar, and then turn those rounds into wins. And on that round, he was able to kill the guy on Cat, which was really important because that was the only player at A that could stop the rotate. And so that would have bled them dry in terms of time and also put them in a 3v1 if he wasn't able to get that kill.
Oh, here we go, Londers, into the second half. We thought this would be a close one. So far, it's definitely lived up to that hype. And this, of course, historically, through this tournament, has been a close map between the two teams, but the USPs are ringing out. However, the Tech 9 from Oscar, the raid boss, living up to that title with the headshot. Punisher. Oh, he's actually going to get USP down. I was about to say the USP from this range is devastating, but Angel picked one up from the corpse of one of the Bulgarians. Spyleader will oblige back in kind with a headshot onto Angel, and it's just back and forth across the board. HellRaisers have the player advantage. Spyleader's been spotted and gets fragged from Oscar, who gets his third. Full house of frags with Angel with 2, and HellRaisers, that's a big pistol to win. Yeah,
actually got to give it up to Orbit considering now that I see that they won this pistol. HellRaisers actually won the first pistol too, so they're pretty close in terms of scoreline. All things considered. The issue is that now with the second pistol, that solidifies their score in a way that HellRaisers can start to run away with it, put Orbit in these positions where they want to buy up. And again, we see this, decision to try to put together a buy with what they have. They've kind of split up into a default, which alarms me a little bit because that means that they didn't really have a plan. They're just like, do we want to win this round or not? And it's always really important to try to stack on your CT side. Dust2, the rotates are quite fast, so you can kind of make do because. Say you want to stack. Whoa, geez, Oscar, it's nuts. That was so fast. Like that was just off of a cross.
It's pretty standard for Oscar. Like you'll be in the middle of a sentence and you'll just pull off the craziest shot out of nowhere. You're like, okay, that just happened.
Yeah.
Rip.
But yeah, that's a very important kill right there. That scout should be picked up, right? The scout's so important to complement the pistols on the second round because the scout does 70 damage, right? And then the CZ, 1 bullet is just a kill. So you tag up as many people as possible, and then everybody is so useless, You don't actually get maimed, right? But if you have 20 HP, you kind of move around slower, you play scared. It simulates being maimed, I say.
Well, that's a very good point, because you have to be very cognizant of the fact that one false move and you're a dead man.
Yeah, exactly.
So it really does play into the back of your mind. Meanwhile, HellRaisers is going to make the most of that. Scout is picked up now for Spyleader. Bomb planted on A. And HellRaisers in prime position. Orbit, it's worth the save, honestly. With 4 weapons, you've got a scout, you've got pistols. No reason to throw us away. This gives you a real fighting chance in round 18 as well. And at this point, all you'd be doing is really just throwing them away if you try and retake. There's absolutely no hope for you getting this done.
Definitely.
That's a nice little boost, though, if they can keep the Galil going forward. The assault rifle through. That's a bit of a mistake, I've got to say.
Yeah, definitely. Orbit have like a really good chance in the next round to not only do a lot of damage, but win at this point. The Galil, the head armor across the board. So even though they've invested a lot, and it's kind of a decision they have to make because they could have saved for the buy, well, now they have 2 opportunities to make that buy worthwhile. So it's not so bad after all.
And therein is the reason that you save in those kind of situations, because now they have options. They could even try and force behind it if they want to go all in on this round. And knowing Orbit, I'd have actually expected it, but in fairness, they're playing a little bit more passively. They're saying, okay, weapons we have are good enough for now. This allows us to get assault rifles sooner.
I think what they see is like their money is just so even. They don't want to give that up. But if like someone was low, then probably the rest of them would just be like, all right, let's just turn this into guns. But yeah, I think they were on the edge, or on the verge of maybe just going all in there.
Definitely a discussion was being had. But they opt to go for the weapons they take through from the previous round. Now, we said before, this is still a dangerous round for HellRaisers. They can't take it for granted. They know 4 weapons are safe. They know there's a Galil. They know there's the Scout in the hands of Orbit. So, as a result, it's just back to basics. Nothing out of the ordinary for HellRaisers. Scout from Bubble up on short. Position, you see a whole bunch. Pretty much shoot, drop down, relocate, live to fight another day. Let's see if we can get a tag before dropping. No, we can't. This is the sad part, though, for Orbit. They have no grenades to counteract this potential push on Catwalk. They're pretty much just raw with their weaponry.
Yeah, you know, if they thought the cat pressure was going to come out, they would have put one in Goose, get dedicated, right? Because you can't cross late to Goose; it's too risky. If someone comes on cat, they'll be able to see it, and then you're screwed pretty much. You can't cross back either. And here we might have the run boost here just to solidify the cat take. HellRaisers cat takes are fantastic.
They do this so often. Bubble actually spins around and lands the shot. Now he's in a good enough position to maybe do a bit more damage. Look at the HP on HellRaisers. 2 players a bullet away from death. The hopping, Bunny scouting, not quite paying off, but Punisher and Spiley to CZ and 5-7s will, and that leaves Angel on 7 health. And we said there was a chance that HellRaisers would lose this round, and my goodness, they've lost it in horrendous fashion. NKL puts the final nail in the coffin, and HellRaisers will be stinging after that.
You know the cat take fails when you have to challenge from elbow, right? That's exactly what you're trying to avoid. That's why people throw the smoke on cat so they can cross really easily. Instead, HellRaisers is like, we're gonna do this run boost, and we're kind of all inning on that. We're gonna throw one flash over, try to get the guy long to fall back, and that's gonna allow us to gain territory, right? They just want to get the bomb planter to the cat plant, and then get 1 at elbow, have 2 on cat, maybe get a kill in the process so the after plant is easier. But ultimately, they ended up fighting as they were crossing. That's not the position you want to be in, right? There's too many ways that CTs can take advantage of that.
Another statistic that I just saw there as you were talking, Wanders, is that Oscar is the only player with more kills than death, barring 1 more player who's on 10 for 9. Everyone else has more deaths than kills.
In the server?
On his side.
On his side, okay.
So it just goes to show again that without him performing this solidly, this 2-round lead would not exist for HellRaisers. There's just no chance.
Well, what's scary and nice about that for Oscar is that on T side, you have an even better way of carrying, right? You can go in first. You can decide where to open up the map. You can decide what site to go to. You can tell everyone to get in behind you, you know. On CT, you got to hope they come to you, or you got to make really good rotates, but it's harder.
Bubble hears the footsteps, doesn't even want to try and gamble with his life at this kind of stage. So much hinging on this round. Both teams' economy is suspect. Both teams could be flat out broke if they lose this. Angel's going to be pushing up, actually switches to his knife. Wasn't expecting the repeat, but Zero, good guy Zero, his bodyguard, is up to the task. Punisher on the site with 1 kill, 2 kill actually. Drops the bomb out in the middle of nowhere as well. This is great play from Punisher. If he can land this 3rd kill, he's pretty much wrapped this up by himself. Because the rest of his team's coming in, and Punisher lands the 5-7 frag, finally goes down. But surely now, Orbit will pull the trigger and take their 9th round. If not, Punisher will be gutted. And they have. What a hold that was on B from Punisher. 3 massive kills.
Did you see that beautiful movement while he was sliding around? That was just absolutely unreal. Like the couple of headshots he got, that was all he needed to do really to make sure they won. And I think we're going to spot that right now, yeah. And that's the 2nd kill. Turns that into the guy. Oscar actually coming out and whiffing a shot out of tunnels. He's not going to be happy about that. But then getting this 3rd is just icing on the cake for them. Super nice play.
And just massive as well, because if he dies, it's a 2-on-2, and then B is taken for HellRaisers. So, phenomenal play. Really stepping into Dreamer's shoes, Punisher, and doing a great job. HellRaisers, full on eco. Glocks, nothing else. Tapping out of this. And this will see Orbit, very likely, taking a 10-10. So it looked like HellRaisers maybe going to start to pull away when they won the pistol round. Certainly not the case.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you know what? Up until that point that he got that 3K and bailed his team out, I think NKL made like a really risky play by pushing out of the door and then just getting destroyed right away. That puts way too much pressure on your teammate, because if you have 2 in the site, one of you's got to watch tunnel dedicated, and then the other one's got to deal with door and window. So if one of you dies, he's got door, window, and tunnel, which is way too much pressure to have, and NKL died without getting a kill. So you know, the fact that he was able to get that 3K and then turn it into this save that they see right now is just amazing for them. Both the teams now going to be able to get into double digits. And Orbit are going to be able to have an economy. And they haven't lost a player here as well, so doing fantastic.
Now this is just money in the bank. There's the leaning tower of Orbit. And Angel is put 6 for under. Actually, a small correction, not that it matters at all, but I know someone's going to be like, actually, it wasn't 4 Glocks, someone had a P250. Deco bought a P250, so get mad. Triggered.
Triggered.
But it was Glocks plus a P250. Good luck getting anything done in that round. Here we go, though. Here's the reason for the save. HellRaisers now have AKs, but no AWP, which is pretty significant when you have Oscar on the server. They'd love to have this. And now Orbit are going to look to return the favor with a high-progressive push of their own. NKL comes in and gets the kill into Bondic. And looks like he may be able to survive and push through the smoke back towards the Sanctuary of Short. Actually, he holds down the trigger and gets the second. Just fading away with style. Very well played. And that's got to be bittersweet for HellRaisers. It's like a single tear rolls down their cheek as they think, that's such a beautiful strat.
Yep.
But it worked against us.
Yeah, not so good. And long control was taken, right? And Cat was the other part of the strat. So they really wanted to have 2 get up there pretty quickly. And they were given long, so NKL needed to get those kills. And now he's got more people fighting him. And that CT smoke was a little rough, but almost worked in the favor of HellRaisers. Now NKL with 2 HP is going to be on the side. Any more kills that he gets, it's going to work out so well, but no, Zero takes him down. And they're only 3 up.
Spy Leader wrapping himself through long. It was a 3-on-3. But due to Spy Leader's play, it's a 3-on-0. Very well cleaned up from Spy Leader. Actually finishes it on 100 as well. So 10K to his name. And if you look at the difference between the 2 teams in terms of score, everyone negative kills to death, apart from Oscar. Everyone pulling their weight on Orbit.
Yeah,
this is the problem when one player is carrying everything on his shoulders. Eventually, he's going to get a sore back.
That's the big deal, yeah, for sure. And the benefit for Orbit on the CT side is that if everyone's pulling their weight, you know that means that your sight holds are on point. Stopped in his tracks and then just eviscerated.
Just get slammed.
Peace, kid.
HellRaisers back onto Deagles on a P250 this time. Still fair amounts of one-tap potential in play, but is anyone going to channel it in a scream? He was a beast yesterday, by the way. I don't know if you saw any of the plays, but my goodness. HellRaisers looking to away the Dodo in this round as well.
It was crazy. Me and Paulo were at the after party, and then it was that Shocks round, that one before. And we're looking at the scoreboard on HLTV, and we're just seeing the names disappear on the scoreboard. It's like last round of the game,
yeah.
And then Shocks diffuses, and we're like, what the heck?
There's Bubble, Spy Leader, Zero, last player. 72, this grenade is going to do serious damage shortly. Oh, down to 9, but he does get the bomb planted. So all things considered, mission accomplished for HellRaisers.
Yeah, we take those. That's a big plant.
Yep.
No, Orbit have a lead, though. You know, that's pretty scary. I mean, they might be overcoming their demons here and doing extremely well. Now, the thing is, I think they got the plant last 2 rounds in a row. So Orbit, I mean, HellRaisers actually have a lot of money to work with. I mean, the thing is that they're spending most of it as well. And I think they should have been more cognizant of the fact that if they lose this round, it's going to be really rough on their money because they're going to want to buy. So maybe they want to, you know, hedge their bets a little bit, maybe have someone not spend so much. So they could have 2 good buys. You don't plan to lose ultimately, but the economy is such a big part that you do want to take it into consideration. But HellRaisers right now are kind of banking really hard on making sure they secure this round and doing it convincingly.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all well and good getting a bomb plant, but if you do nothing with it in the next round, it's all for naught. You have to convert them. You have to start to connect the dots because HellRaisers, I think they've only won 2 rounds on their T side so far. They have been getting completely punished from Orbit. Victor takes the early damage. Very passive plays from HellRaisers. Obviously still stinging a little bit from the push from NKL when he picked up 2 kills just a few rounds ago. Flashbangs being exchanged, but no real damage. And still, HellRaisers have a lot of utility, whereas Orbit have actually spent the majority of theirs. They've got 2 HEs. They have no smokes to play with, though. So they've been quite thirsty in terms of their utility usage. That HE, a bit of a dirt moment from Bubble, and now they only have 1 HE to play with 50 seconds left, Launders. This could be massive for HellRaisers.
HellRaisers going to have to beat... Oh, that's a rough... I don't like that at all.
That reaction was perfect. Oh, as he realized it didn't cover the whole of mid. Fortunately, though, for HellRaisers...
Got to cover the whole.
Wow, okay. Victor with 2 kills, as Bubble's going to pick up 1 as well onto Oscar. And HellRaisers didn't get punished through mid, but they have been punished elsewhere. I was curious if they're going to push anyone through mid. They didn't. Bomb has been planted, though. And now Zero's going to step up, does land himself the headshot. Meanwhile, Stico puts down NKL 2-on-2. Albeit with Zero circling the drain, picked off from the smart deal worker. Bubble, what a shot on the cross. That is from Stico, but Bubble goes for the repeak, and Orbit will pick up a 13th.
Why'd you do that, Stico? I don't know. I don't like that. I mean, okay, you got to take the fight, right? The goal is, I mean, you have the option, okay? There's like, let's say there's 3 points where you take that fight. You know that Bubble's going to cross long, right? So you either peek out while you think he's going to cross because he's assuming you're not going to re-peek, or you wait a second because you think that he's going to hold that for a moment. I think the option 2 is better because it's safer. Not only that, but the bomb is planted for you. So it's not like you have to catch him, otherwise you lose, right? The bomb's not planted default, so he couldn't cross and then defuse and force you to cross. Instead, you always have the advantage if you just stay hidden. So I feel like Stico played that a little bit badly.
Oscar definitely caught the kneecaps darting across his screen. As Long was taken from Orbit. Smoke, HE's thrown in again. Bondic going to return the favor. No one's home, though. Of course, he won't know that. But we have seen this similar setup time and time and time again. This, ladies and gents, is Dust2.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. This is typically what you're going to see. Flirtatious blue ball CS and mid.
Yeah.
Without any commitment for like a minute and a half or so.
Yeah, absolutely. That's well put. Ooh.
This is why HellRaisers are such an entertaining team to watch for me, though, alongside Orbit, with how aggressive they are on the CT side. They actually try and make the most of that predictability from a T side on Dust2.
Yeah, and it was almost certainly downfall, Orbit's downfall to be a little bit too safe on their CT. There's Angel Kid picking up the long flank. That's a really big kill. I mean, now they've got 3 players. They just got to identify where the 2 players are. I mean, I think it's like they're doing it wrong right now because they're about to run into Bubble and it's off. And oh, he does whiff. That allows them to gain a lot of map.
That's exactly it. It allows them now to start to push their way in, and you would expect Bubble to land that. However, Punisher is in Goose, and he knows Stico's gone that side of the bomb. As soon as he hears the plant going down, it's just a formality that the kill will follow. Punisher with 2 now. And he's still alive and kicking on 100% of his health. Meanwhile, Oscar is trying to put down the hammer. He comes in, onto short, lands the first frag, spins around with a P250. We know he's so solid with this weapon, but Bubble on fire, living up to his name. Deagle one tap.
Beast.
HellRaisers call the timeout. Understandably so.
Look at this, man. Oscar has 30 kills and Bubble has 25. So not only, this is the thing, right? We mentioned the score lines before, and it is becoming such a huge factor because everybody on Orbit is pulling their weight. NKL, who only has 9 kills, had one of the most important 2 or 3 Ks in the last couple of rounds, right? Where he's able to shut down that long push, and now it's just crazy because ultimately, on the CT side, like if your kill distribution is really good, then your site holds are going to be really good. You're going to consistently have more rounds where you win, and not only that, you're going to be really good economically. We saw HellRaisers on their CT side able to win rounds, but then as soon as they lost one, they had no money left over, and that's because Oscar's teammates kept dying. And I hate to put it like that, but ultimately, that is what it comes down to, right?
That's the thing, you have to be honest, right? Especially if you're going to analyze a very lackluster last 15 minutes or so of play from HellRaisers. They started, what was it, 7-1, I think? 8-1 maybe? Somewhere around that mark, and then it just went completely downhill afterwards. Oscar, I think, had around 25, 26 kills at the end of the first half, so he's only got himself 4 or 5 kills in the second one. And you're expecting a player of his caliber, knowing how good he is at AWPing and AKing on the T side of Dust2, to do better than that. I think that's just been the issue. They've run out of gas.
You know what, though? That was just like a really rough decision. I think a careless one to go up cat that quickly. Because as we identified, right, they had 3 players left on Orbit, and almost no time out of the 50 seconds remaining taken to figure out which site was weaker. You know, there's only one at B. The op was at A. If they knew, if they had map hack and they could see that the op was at A and that there was a second player supporting them, there's no way they would have gone there. So they could have spent a little bit more time, the utility they had, the 4 players they had alive, to try to cause a rotate, right? Get some information, try to do some nade damage even. Instead, they just committed to the site, ran up cat, and got destroyed. So it is time to take a pause. And I think in this pause, it's mostly about like chill out. Yeah. Right? Like they know how to win these rounds. It's Dust2. Like there's only so many things you can go over. Maybe you want to talk about next round for a second, but that only takes a couple moments. Ultimately, it's like we need to mentally reset right now because we're not playing our game, right? We're not playing the way we should be.
I completely agree with you. As I said, I think it's just the case that they've run out of steam a little bit. Maybe this is the moment to try and reinvigorate themselves, get themselves back into the right mindset of, okay, let's go back to base roots. Let's try and figure out what's been going wrong. Oscar's got himself the AWP again. So there's a big part of the round. Stiko actually dropped that across to him at the expense of his Kevlar, so he's actually going to be running with no Kevlar on the AK. That can be a bit awkward, but of course, if he just lands the one tap, it doesn't matter. And this is all now on Oscar. This is effectively saying, Oscar, you've been our god. Take the sacrifice, please. Get some kills.
And, you know, as many shots as Oscar is hitting, he is also missing a couple of shots. I hate to highlight Oscar for that because he's just doing so much more than his teammates, right? He's got to be frustrated. He's probably also, you know, overcalling as well, trying to make up for the ground. His teammates are just trying to, like, because when people don't frag, right, they get into the mindset of, like, talking less as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Being more negative as well.
I'm so bad for that, man.
Yeah.
So bad. I got like full emo.
It's quite common. And one of the sayings is you gotta be able to sing and dance, right? You know, comms are just as important as being able to shoot. And so, you know, making up for that because he's getting as many kills is starting to cause a performance hit for him.
It's a very good point that you raise. If he's starting to feel like, come on, guys, where's the backup? It could start to impact his performance as well, for absolute sure. And they gave him the up. He's not really had any opportunities so far. Orbit have played very passively, very defensively. They've got fairly forward positions as a player. And Spy Leader was about to highlight that he was about to get aggressed on from Angel. And he's held down, and that's on Punisher. He gets picked off, but there's strength in numbers here from Orbit. They should have a crossfire down. Stiko comes in with a kill onto NKL. 3-on-3. Stiko's very low, though. 20 seconds left. Spy Leader just going to be tapping through the smoke. Does actually do a bit of damage. Kneecapping Bondik, it looked like, as he tried to cross, but Bondik will still be getting the bomb planted, so now all of the attention goes back onto the CTs. There are 0 grenades, however, for HellRaisers, and still Stiko has no Kevlar.
Critical retake right now. I mean, we've got decent spots, but no one's actually watching tunnels. Oscar needs to be cognizant of the fact that tunnels is about to be very insecure in a moment. And yeah, we'll now take this fight at a good moment. Finds the kill, and there's another one to regress. I don't know if he's going to be able to hear this. Seems like he has, and he doesn't find the kill. Spy Leader's making his way into the site, gets the second kill as well, and Bubble answers as well. And now they get the defuse, and Orbit get match point off of that retake. That should have never happened. That should have it should have not been that decisive.
I think that's where you see the lack of utility really play in. They couldn't cordon off an area and put more and bolster their defenses on one side or the other. Like, I don't know, smoke doors, for example, stack 2 players on tunnel instead. Because his thing with Oscar is, as good as he is, if he misses a close range shot, he's dead.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can do there unless a massive whiff comes in from Orbit.
100%. I mean, you know, as much as you don't want to put so much weight on him, he just had the important spot in that retake because 2 people were coming from tunnels, right? If he was able to find his way to big box or just stay behind, K-Sharp or stay behind big box, he would have had a much safer, you know, engagement where he could peek out and kind of control like how far a CT can come out. Instead, he put himself out in the open where, you know, he trusts himself to hit a shot, but if he doesn't hit it like he just did, suddenly everybody else is vulnerable.
I think one of the reasons why he didn't go back there is because there was no grenades to actually stop anyone peeking through window and shooting him while he was looking in tunnels. So it's this domino effect of CS that you see come to fruition. That's HG could do so much damage, actually slightly banks off the wall. That takes it out of harm's way. For HellRaisers, 1-4 trade, but Oscar's on 2 health. Still some utility to play with for HellRaisers. And now Punisher goes walkies through tunnels. He could get rewarded for his aggression just about by the skin of his teeth. 0 zips away. Looks like the T's will be congregating on short side, but that's going to be playing right into the hands of Bubble. It all comes down to, can he land the shots? And the answer is no. Angel lands the AK headshot. Getting back on again. Now the bomb can go across to the site. We've seen a couple times that Orbit have conceded the bomb plant and got a beautiful retake in effect. Nice shot from Oscar, who's still on 2 HP. Still very low, very close to death. The grenade lands in his face, and now it's all on Bondik as Angel also goes down. He's got a decent position. He's got grenades.
Yeah, he's got him. He's also kind of being inconspicuous at the moment.
Oh my goodness. What can you say about that timing? That is so unfortunate.
Yeah, so Bondik had the opportunity, and that's the map, by the way. Bondik had the opportunity to basically dump all his grenades like really quickly and then maybe make a play from there, but he had to kind of give up his position at long. The issue for him was that this bomb is obviously planted for Cat, and he's in pit, so that doesn't really help him considering where it is. So he had to make a couple of choices there. It ends up that the smoke ends up baiting his nades out, and that works in the favor of the CTs who are retaking from 2 spots, right? So
incredibly unfortunate, but at the same time, HellRaisers, they slip back into the same problem that we said before. They have moments of brilliance. They can even have half a map where they look untouchable, and then out of nowhere, the ground's taken from beneath their feet, and they go into full tilt mode. They were 7-8-1 up. They finished with just 10 rounds.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know how many kills Oscar did have, but if we look at how many kills he had in the first half compared to the second, we'll see a huge disparity, right? He had finished the half with at least 23 kills.
Yep.
You know, that's if you, I mean, you know, chain logic would tell you that's the road to 40, but obviously you wouldn't expect that much. But I think he only got like 7 or 8, right? And so some shots were missed, but it really is about his team and not his team not being able to pick it up. And then it seemed like a couple of group decisions, like that one cat take was just, it comes down to sometimes just those mistakes, right? Man advantage, come across cat, aren't able to get the plant, and then just throw it away, and then you end up saving. Got to give yourself chances to win.
It happens, but that's map number 1, dead and buried. They can't think about this anymore, HellRaisers. They've just got to focus towards cash, which is map number 2. That's going to come up right after this very short commercial break. Stay with us.